Oh, hello there, Site-42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community. And welcome to another Coffee Break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the Anomalous broadcast from Site-42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director here at Site-42 of the SCP Foundation. And as I have done for the last nearly 10 months and counting, because the daily stream streak remains strong, I am here to open my office door to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions about this dark and mysterious place of employment we call the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom, we are here for approximately the next hour for a little coffee break, a little bit of conversation about the SCP Foundation. But before I move on to donations and general Q&A, allow me to perform a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, desk, nice shield you got there, bro. You really got upgraded from mechanic to tank. Good work. Furthermore, Jace Official, congratulations on being our #1 most punctual member of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team, i.e., congratulations on being first chatter. Alongside you, Senior Researcher Alex, Lil Ghost, Terragol, Ella Sprite, Just Pit, Dr. Puppeteer. Everyone who I have just named, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being here as members of Site-42 on YouTube. We appreciate your membership and your service. Furthermore, some person, Paul, Delta Fell, Lucas the Intern, M3A3 Busky, and Minty Andrea, welcome to today's stream. Thank you for being punctual, and thank you for being here, just for being you today. Now, today's stream subject is rather scattered, so I'm going to approach this from a couple different angles. And if there's a moral, we'll find it together at the end of the story. In part, thanks to Desk, as well as many people in the SCP Foundation celebrating on Twitter, right now, there's a bit of a hubbub on that hell site because the blocking, the blinking of the Dr. Bright articles. Now, we've talked about why the Dr. Bright articles have been blanked. By the way, trigger warning for Dr. Bright and the subjects that come up around that character and author, because that's in part what our conversation's about. A little embarrassed by it now. Don't worry about it, Desk. The thing about SCP Twitter you have to understand. Now, first I'm talking about the SCP Twitter members who are SCP authors, who are SCP fans, our team, so to speak. I'm not going to say that every single one of them is perfect angels. Of course, the SCP Foundation community is still people. Now, sometimes it is fun to watch them go off on some chud or some loser who has a terrible opinion about SCP because they never read the wiki. Because the one thing that's really fun about the SCP community is it's a writing community. And so you get these people who spend their hobby time writing, using a thesaurus, finding good words. And when it's time to go on the attack, oh boy, are Twitter fights particularly funny. Because the SCP authors are really good at dunking. It's a good time. Don't get in a fight on a writing platform against a community of writers. It's bad for you. But that aside, one thing you'll notice on SCP Twitter is what we're going to call today, you don't even read the wiki argument. And it's where, someone says a baseless thing about SCP, proving they know nothing about the community. And then the SCP author just says, I completely disregarding you because you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't even read the site. You don't even go here. And a very, very, majority of the time, they are right to do so. You do not need to engage with people who are acting in bad faith, who are completely talking out of their ass, so to speak. And if they are not going to have a well-mannered argument with you, they don't deserve a well-mannered argument from you. If they're going to be dicks, you're not out of line for being a dick back. That being said, there are sometimes, unfortunately, innocent people being caught in the crossfire. And of course, that's people who actually do read the wiki, actually do have sort of quasi-complaints here and there. How they choose to voice that is important to the process, and the character count on Twitter being so shallow does not lead to good objective debate. So having a fight on Twitter in the first place is never really beneficial to your well-being. But those people who deserve to be heard out because they do have solid critiques of the situation or the community, this and that, we're not perfect, there are critiques to be had. You gotta remember that the SCP community, I'm not gonna call them an oppressed minority. SCP authors are not an oppressed minority, please. But they do catch a lot of fire, they do catch a lot of strays from bad faith actors. And what that does is that insulates the community. You see this when you look at religious zealots in public. There is a hazing ritual that religious zealots and cults put their charges through to make sure they don't listen to anyone on the outside. When people have to go out there with signs that say, God hates gay people, and they have to yell at people, what that mission is meant to do is not to convert people. People out in the public will not be converted by that vitriol, by that vile statement of hatred. That's not going to get people to your side. But what it's going to get you is you're going to be insulted by so many people that you will believe the only people you can trust are the people who are nice to you back in the cult. And so the cultists are very nice and love-bomby, and then they send you out to get lambasted by the outside world, and that causes you to regress further into the cult. Now, what's a cult? Any religion, any community can be called a cult if there's enough people and there's enough sincerity. The SCP community catches a lot of strays, and as such, you would imagine they have a hair trigger to responding with anger. It makes sense. I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying I'm better than them, because sometimes I take a breath and engage with people where they are rather than just shutting them out completely. Trust me. It's caused me a lot of hassle trying to argue with people who don't deserve to be argued with. But once in a blue moon, you get a good one. Once in a blue moon, you have a conversation, and they have nuanced points, and maybe they don't understand about the wiki, and then you can clarify for them. They're like, oh yeah, okay, that's actually a good point, thank you. And then you go back and forth and just everyone succeeds. This is a good day. Today, I spent my day at the gym doing cardio and having a constructive argument on Twitter. A unicorn has appeared, and I don't know how this is going to happen ever again in the future. Going back in. So, in the past, I have defended staff during the Dr. Bright scenario very strongly. I've said, no, staff has done a very hard situation as well as they can. Now, I have to do this defense because I feel that they catch a lot of flack that's both fair and unfair. It has taken 4 years to handle this scenario. That is too long. I admit it. I wish it had gone faster. I think communication could have been better. But at the same time, when they're getting beaten up as much as they are, I feel like I gotta give them a little grace anyways. Just gotta. Because at the end of the day, if they're constantly being attacked, then they're always on the defensive. If you say, hey, I understand, it's hard, you weren't perfect, but you're getting better, and you're working on this, and in the future you'll do better, we can try and move forward. So at the end of the day, of this scattered stream subject, I don't know if there's a moral or not, except for understand when people are stressed out and lashing out because they're being defensive because they're constantly being attacked. This is true for SCP authors who are not an oppressed minority, but this is true for oppressed minorities like certain races within the United States who are being attacked by the government, fuck ICE, and all the other racists. This goes for trans people who are constantly under attack, as well as the greater LGBTQ community. So fuck all the haters on that front too. End of the day, do your best to have grace when a person of a oppressed minority lashes out, because if they're being defensive because they've been attacked in the past, it's not good. You don't have to excuse the behavior, but maybe if you are strong enough to tank the blow, you can extend a hand, help them out to be better, and everyone's happier in the end of the day. Maybe. I don't know, I'm riffing here. This is off the dome. I could probably say this better in the future. But end of the day, try to have grace for people. Try to be nice for people, whether they're on your side or the other side. Maybe we can make some way to a happy community. Is there anything else I have to say about that right now? No, I think I'm good on that. We've discussed Bruno enough. So now the Bruno box is shut. Let's get back to chat. We have about 45 to 55 minutes in today's Containment Hazard Assessment Team meeting. So let me jump into the donos that came in during that, and we'll move to general Q&A. Dr. Puppeteer, thank you for your 5 months as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. I'm alive. What's happening? It's good to see you're alive. It has been a while. I hope you're doing well. And also, yeah, not much right now. Oh, one more thing. I have been making content. I don't know how long you guys have been watching me, but I've been doing YouTube for 10 years now. My 10-year anniversary was back in June of 2025. 10 years of YouTube. Furthermore, that is 10 years in the SCP community. And it is occurring to me that some of you have been watching me since you are a child, and now you are an adult. That's a true statement. And so to everybody who has watched me for that damn long, as well as everybody who is watching me newer than that, I truly hope that I am providing entertainment, good vibes, and a place to be safe and have fun in the SCP community, and that you guys are taking care of yourselves and putting good in the world in return. If I'm giving you guys good, and you're doing good too, I think by butterfly effect standards, we're making the world a better place. So, bottom of my heart, thank you guys for watching, for doing good things in the world. I appreciate you greatly. Intern Horok and Intern Baby, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. You asked about more my musical, The 19th Foundation, yesterday. It's about a level 4 scientist trying to escape Site 19 during a mass containment breach. What SCP should I add? Well, if there's a mass containment breach, the musical. So I do want to know more about the structure. Because is this the doctor is singing songs and then the SCPs are coming? Do the SCPs get musical numbers? Because if the SCPs get to sing, I'm going to have a completely different roster of what anomalies should be coming after it. Coming after the researcher. Because a soulful song from the inside of the hearts of some of these anomalies can be a pretty fun and funny thing. For those of you who are fans of SCP-2337, codename Dr. Spanko, one of my favorite little funny SCP guys. A little corn crake that can talk, but it talks in jumbled word salad, and it talks at a standard decibel level that will completely obliterate your hearing. So you have to wear very high power protection to talk to Dr. Spanko. Dr. Spanko is a funny bird. That's all the article is. I love that funny bird. But then there is a tale on the database. This is one of the things I love about the SCP Wiki, is you go on there and someone will take your very funny SCP bird and they will write a tale about it that completely upends it. And so there is a tale on the database called a diminished thing. And a diminished thing is an SCP tale where there is an actual person, a logical human scientist for the SCP Foundation, who was transformed into Dr. Spanko and lives in Dr. Spanko's head with a full, regular human monologue, able to understand what it's thinking, but it cannot communicate outside of Dr. Spanko's language. And so it's trying to say, hey guys, I'm stuck in here. Please help me. But all that comes out is Dr. Spanko's gibberish. It's so good and so painful to read. Read SCP-2337 and then read A Diminished Thing. Of course, A Diminished Thing is by SCP author Pepper's Ghost, author of SCP-5031, yet another murder monster, so we should expect a good hit to the feels. So yes, long story short, too late. For you who is writing this musical, I want to know more because I want to know what the interior monologue of these anomalies could be if they have musical numbers. Next up, Pimp Demon. Thank you for your first and second donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a crepe on your way past the commissary. Hey, I found a Pokemon. It's Rayquaza. Put it back in its Pokeball. Or get it in a Pokeball if it's not in one. Because love Pokemon. That is the easiest containment procedure there is. Pokeball. Got it. Now, yes, you have to let them out, and you have to let them stretch their legs, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes, if they're bad, they can stay in the ball. And you said, well, Dr. Vell, I get electricity, he said over Sherman's shoulder. Why are we talking over my shoulder? Who's in my office? Furthermore, you were having this conversation with Dr. Vell, and I skipped the first line, or part of it, because I don't know what you're talking about. But, so Dr. Vell, thank you for your first and second donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a steel-cut oatmeal on your way past the commissary. Good morning, Dr. Sherman. Question, what coffee do you get every day from 298? You mean 294, I believe. Is 298 something else? SCP-298 is codename the Blood Organ, a chamber organ of indeterminate manufacture created sometime in the 1400s in the then Holy Roman Empire. All pipes, as per all pipe organs created before 1450, it has no stop controls. And while played, it induces human blood within human subjects to slowly expel itself from the subject's bodies, while simultaneously assuming the consistency of fibrous matter, such as cellulose. So I like my blood in my body, so that's not where I get anything from the blood organ. But no, I just get standard black coffee. If you can get a quality black coffee, then, oh, no, that's a lie. I used to go with standard black coffee. But now, the on-site dentist yells at me if I drink black coffee because it stains my teeth. And they do a job whitening my teeth every once in a while, so they don't want me to mess that up. So when it's red wine, I have to drink it through a straw, which is very annoying and looks just so stupid. But furthermore, when I drink coffee, I do add a little bit of milk now, oat milk. That way I can not stain my teeth so bad when I drink my coffee. But no sugar. We don't need that. Now, even for tea, I usually drink it straight, but sometimes a little bit of sugar can unlock the flavor a bit. So even though I don't like adding sugar to things, I'm not a sweets guy. Adding a little bit of sugar to a tea can really unlock its flavor. I don't find that as much with coffee because of the strength of the coffee. But with tea, it works out. Furthermore, you said, I'm sending a pic of 096 to ICE. Doesn't that sound amazing? I really want to. Oh, as much as I would love that. As much as I think that would be a brilliant idea. The amount of civilians we would lose, the amount of protesters, I would feel really bad harming the wrong side of the situation. So let's hold back on that anyways. Dream Droids. You said just about every person in SCP will sing. Most will appear multiple times. 173 and 999 are about the only SCPs who don't sing. You know, there are some good tales on the wiki from SCP-173's inner monologue that you should read. Because one of them, SCP-173, is like this childlike entity that wants to give people hugs and doesn't understand why everyone stops hugging it once a hug is accomplished. And so there's some really good inner monologue for 173 if you really look into the database. I highly recommend for whatever SCP you go for. Once you get on the series page, boom, boom, boom. Once you get on the series page, click this little Tales Edition button if you're not familiar with it or anyone else in the chat. Then this Tales Edition pulls out every tale tagged under that SCP. So under the 001s, there's a lot of 001s. Let's get to more simple. Let's do 173. So we come down to 173. God, this takes a while in Series 1. 173 has, oh dear God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's so many tales. It's so many tales about 173. And so when you're reading all of these tales, I believe it's either crack or crunch. Crack is what I was thinking about. Room dark, people gone, can move. Happy? What is happy? Happy is crunch. No crunch. Love crunch. Bones into flesh, blood into air. Twitchy, moving things that stop and freeze with eyes twitch and move no more. Have crunch. Always have crunch. Every day, new people turn to rock. Look away. Turn to self. Twist. Crunch. Die. Happy. Now, I remembered that wrong clearly. Obviously, it does like killing people, so it wasn't a happy little birthday thing. That must have been another tale, because I do remember the happy little birthday boy, SCP-173. But I don't know, it's definitely not crack, so you'll have to check that out later. Say no to crack, unless it's the SCP tale crack. That one's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 SCPs I want musical songs from. I want an inspirational number where the SCP-3092's codename Guerrilla Warfare, they help the researcher to escape the breach, at least a segment, with an Oompa Loompa style song, Whistle While You Work, setting up traps to delay the anomalies that are chasing the researcher to help the researcher escape. And so I want the 3092 Guerrilla Warfare, Whistle While You Work, Oompa Loompa song. Furthermore, I want a song from... I'm trying to think of someone, a really, Gaston-like pompous SCP character. Like, Fernand the Cannibal could do that. Fernand could give you some really good, sing-song material there. So yes, I'll go with Fernand, and I'll go with the Gorillas. Me when Super Chats get ignored. Researcher Mav, please be patient. There are over 100 people here, and while I will read every single dono, I will never miss a dono. Sometimes I do answer an interesting question from the chat before it gets lost, because once I lose an interesting question, I'll never find it again. So please be patient. I will never completely skip over the donos. They will be read. That is a Dr. Sherman guarantee. No, not Terragal yet. Lil Ghost, thank you for sending a flower to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. And Kaiju Enthusiast, thank you for sending a marshmallow for a Containment Hazard Assessment team treat. Ciao, thank you for subscribing to Site 42. We appreciate your newly minted staff member status. Terragal, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a latte on your way past the commissary. Where am I? I just woke up. Wait, why are these faces people wearing? Wait, help. I think someone put me into IKEA while I was sleeping. Dude, it's really hard to get out of there, man. Best we can do is open the IKEA door and send a signal, and hopefully your receiver can track it to the exit. That's kind of the best we can do. So we'll do that, and you track the signal and try and find the door. Good luck. Rebel Commander, thank you for your 6 months as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Really wanted to see Iron Lung, but homework procrastination. Ah, man. Iron Lung was pretty damn good. I'm loving seeing movie critics who I agree with, typically, like Movie Bob, for instance, agree with me on this, that Iron Lung was actually pretty damn good. So I like to see it getting what it deserves. Mav, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself, I guess, some cheese on your way past the commissary. That's all you put in the message. Okay. If two SCPs were to fight, which ones would fight and who would win? Well, Intern Rhodey, if you want to know about that, I can't help you because we at Site 42 do not run a SCP fight club. That is not something we do here because we do not condone pitting SCPs against each other for pit fights, for profit and betting. We would never do that, and so you can't go to the 7th floor gymnasium in the G-Wing this week to see such an SCP fight club because it doesn't exist. And in fact, it exists notly so hard that there's no rule against talking about SCP Fight Club. Because there has to be an SCP Fight Club for there to be a rule about not talking about SCP Fight Club. And since there is no SCP Fight Club, no rules about it. You can talk about it all you want because it doesn't exist at 7 p.m. on Friday night. Intern Tofelish, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a waffle on your way past the commissary. What is your favorite interdimensional snack? Interdimensional snack. Listen, okay. First of all, I'm not granting any permission to go there because the cat-made waifus are incredibly annoying. People are, oh my god, I want to go to the cat-made waifu dimension. You do not understand how annoying all that is after a while. No, you go there, you think you're going to have a good time, and everybody comes back annoyed. So, I'm not granting permission for this. But they do make some damn fine rice balls. They are phenomenal cooks when it comes to snacks. So, that's the one. Moonston and Amber, both of you. Hello for the quick hi, welcome to chat, and Moonston, definitely get some sleep. Is there any Portuguese site in the SCP Wiki? Portuguese. So, when you say Portuguese, which... Is that specifically Portugal you're looking for? Are you looking for Brazilian Portugal? Or are you looking for Portuguese or European Portuguese? Which, you're looking for Portugal in particular. Okay. So first of all, I do believe The SCP database has an entire Portuguese site, doesn't it? Does International have a Portuguese branch? International branches. Portuguese. Yes, if you go to the International database, then International branches, there is a Portuguese-speaking branch. So I would imagine a lot of their SCPs are, in fact, stationed in Portugal. Furthermore, if I put Portugal into the database, then the living room, SCP-002, is in Portugal. How about that? Forgot about that one. Did we move it, or? Okay, we didn't move it from Portugal, so it was discovered in Portugal. It may have been moved afterwards. Log of Anomalous items has something recovered in Portugal. Massachusetts references Portugal. There's a whole bunch. If you search the database for Portugal, you'll find something. Are you familiar with the World of Darkness universe? And if not, look it up. I am that I am from World of Darkness. Well, enter Gadwall. I have played a tabletop version of the World of Darkness universe called Innocence. Innocence takes place in the World of Darkness universe, but everybody has to be like 13 or under. So you're playing very weak characters in a world of monsters. Therefore, you are in constant danger. And so that was my one exposure, is playing a Innocence campaign, a one-shot. So otherwise, I don't know that much about World of Darkness. Zenith. To find the Ko-Fi, if you just go in your browser to beacons.ai/site42, you can ignore the chat link and just go there doing that. Now, World of Darkness, I am that I am, you say. World of Darkness, I am that I am. Who exactly is I am that I am? In what piece of World of Darkness does it mention a character named that? I am that I am is what God says to Moses in the Bible. That's not the answer. So the Christian God is implied heavily to exist in the World of Darkness. He is the one who cursed Cain with vampirism. The demons and demon, the falling, likewise imply his existence. However, he's not really a character in the setting and is not really discussed in any books. What do you want me to know or find about this thing that only seems to be in rumors? Chatter, who said that? Because I'm not finding much solid intel here. Hopping back to chat, I'll keep a lookout for a response to that while we talk about things. So where does the SCP Foundation get money for all the sites? Intern Yaya. So sometimes you're looking at the SCP Foundation is getting privately funded by a couple upper crust 0.001 percenters who run this, essentially a crazy hunting lodge that evolved into a giant worldwide spy network. And so we have private funders. We also have the copyrights on several technologies we derived from anomalies. Now, we don't put anomalies out in the world, but we can derive technology from our research that we can then copyright and intake the money for. So there's a lot of ways the SCP Foundation gets funding. Dr. Sherman, how you spin your pen keeps distracting me because of my ADHD. Well, intern Pyburn, that is part of my evil and sexy plans. I am hypnotizing you all. That way you are stuck under my thrall and forced to watch so we can signal boost the SCP community even further. And so my evil plans are coming to fruition. Ha 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 ha. Love how, according to SCP-6954, the Muppets are just real in the SCP universe, but the actual SCP isn't the living puppets, but an odd series of events where they acted different. 6954 Muppets, you say, 369 Destroyer. 6954. Did I take the right number? Yeah, 6954. Where are the Muppets? Agent Frank Oz. Okay, well, there we go. I just watched the new Muppets last night, by the way, the one on Disney Plus. Not sponsored, but ooh, do I love me some Muppets. I just, first of all, Sabrina Carpenter's Muppet special, Seth Rogen, killing it. It is great. If you can watch it, highly recommend it. But that's because I'm biased. I love me some Muppets. Furthermore, because of that, I went searching on the internet and I found a 5-hour long play of a Muppets PC game that I played on my grandfather's computer. And so the nostalgia is right here in my heart. And I am obviously watching this 5-hour long play of a game I used to play 30 years ago. Good times. But yes, I'm glad to hear that the Muppets are alive and well in the Foundation verse. Love me some Muppets. I'll have to look into that later. Can we signal boost Big Jaw Gettys? They're also making an SCP live action. Intern Someperson, I'm not familiar with that at all. I'm gonna look it up real quick here on stream. Big Jaw Gettys. What is a Big Jaw Gettys? 2.2k subscribers, 21 videos. Well, there's an SCP teaser trailer. Why don't we take 50 seconds and watch it, people? Let's see what they're up to. This is their most recent video from 4 days ago. I've never seen this before. I don't know who they are. The first thumbnail does show me a Cybertruck, and that annoys me a little bit. But we'll let that slide for now.
Names are easy. Life is hard.
Just another day in the office.
Skippy, no!
Fight against the pestilence has reached new heights.
So that's all we are to you. Just a number.
SCP-173 has breached containment.
Sure you can handle this one yourself?
I like that guy with a pen. He's my favorite so far.
It's time. Tell me about it.
All right. That didn't tell us a lot, but at least the lighting was pretty. At least the sound was mixed somewhat well. And so far I'm not mad at him. Let me leave a little comment here. Dr. Sherman here. I like what I'm seeing in this trailer. Hit up my business email if you want to talk shop on your live action SCP film project. Happy to help out SCP creators. Comment. And if you want to go over to Big Jaw Gettys and comment on this latest trailer Dr. Sherman sent me to say hello, then that would provide a nice streaming of engagement that will get their attention and help them out for future projects. Dream Droids, if you want to reach out to me about this musical, you should also reach out to me through my business email. I'm not a lot to help on pre-production and actually helping make the thing, but for engagement, marketing, signal boosting, things like that, as well as some idea tossing back and forth a little, I'm happy to help out. So my business email is in the pinned chat link as well. All right. Popping over, I saw a Ko-Fi notification just a bit ago. Let me make sure I don't miss that. Zenith, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. And thank you for making the effort to go through the Ko-Fi, which only takes 3% of your donation, whereas YouTube Super Chats take 30%. So, especially with larger donations, we greatly appreciate if you make the effort to go to the Ko-Fi. Grab yourself a Fresca on your way past the commissary. Blorp, we should throw that peep buddy into a vat of acid. If only they would let me thrash that thing. It certainly deserves it, I think, even more than 682. That's just my opinion. Next up, Dr. Dewison. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a BLT on your way past the commissary. Group of interest that is the most annoying? Not like a serious threat, but more like, hey, those guys exist. Okay, so group of interest who is the most annoying rather than outright dangerous. I'm going to the group of interest hub, where on the database you can see all of the different groups of interest to find their hubs and where they go. Now, for annoyance purposes, I'm going to say probably the Gamers Against Weed, because they're just a bunch of internet trolls, and they make anomalies for the lulz, and they troll us, and they send things that sometimes go really badly, and so I find them to be quite annoying as a group. If I were going to pick one of these that was most frustrating rather than outright dangerous, probably the Gamers Against Weed. Also, what is a Fresca? Is that how it's spelt? Zenith, Fresca, for your edification, is I believe it's a grapefruit-flavored citrus soda. Has Fresca been discontinued? Does Fresca not even exist anymore? Oh, no. Is Fresca still sold? Does Fresca still exist? Yes, Fresca still exists and is produced by the Coca-Cola Company. Yes, so grapefruit soda! Soda! And so, congratulations, not only do I educate you about the SCP Foundation, but you're also getting some great real-world soda pop education as well. Zenith, please. Oh, that sounds nice. I actually love grape candy-flavored things. Grapefruit and grape are different things. You say you're from Australia. Do Australians not have grapefruits? A grapefruit is a big yellow fruit. It's very sour. And if you eat too much grapefruit, it can actually interfere with medicines in your body due to something in there. And so it's not recommended for people on certain prescriptions. But yes, it is grapefruit, not grape. Different fruit, altogether. In fact, I've always wondered why a grapefruit is called that when there are grapes, and they are so radically different from each other. Okay, we're clear. Good to know, Zenith. Terragal, thank you for donating again to say, I'm picking up the single. Thanks, signal, you mean. Okay. Thanks for sending the mobile task force to the entrance and creating a signal for me to follow. Now to find the one who did this. Excellent! You made it out quicker than expected. Yes, let's find and punish anyone who would throw people into the infinite IKEA. That's not good policy. Is there a way to access the main database for SCPs, research purposes? Researcher Vendy, you already have access to the SCP database. scpwiki.wiki.com. The SCP data, it is right there. You can go there right now. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I got myself my own camera so I can possibly join the SCP tubers. I hope you're doing well. Hey, Charger, good luck with your future content creation, if that's the route you decide to go. There's a lot to deal with, but I find it to be quite rewarding in the long run, and I hope you do too. Chaos Insurgency Troop, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself some old nasty licorice on your way past the commissary, please. And then hand yourself over to security, since you're in the facility, lol. Dr. Dewison, thank you for donating again to ask, would you rather spend 1 week alone with Dr. Clef or 4 days on a road trip with Dr. Gerald driving? This is a very simple question. You won't survive the first 15 minutes of Dr. Gerald time. Clef can be frustrating, but isn't going to outright kill you unless you trip one of several bad history memories that will, and breach subjects that will cause Clef to lash out. But even when Clef lashes out, normally it's just hitting you upside the head, El Kabong, with the ukulele. So you'll be concussed, but you'll live. You will not live if you try that Dr. Gerald thing. Low key for your channel anniversary, you should do a Kahoot stream. Intern Duper, I do not know what a Kahoot stream is. This is a word I recognize being in cahoots with somebody, but I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Dr. Sherman, are there any Polish SCPs you would recommend? I mean, SCPs that are from Poland and not written in Polish. Intern Stokotra, I don't necessarily, off the top of my head, know of any Polish SCPs as a quality that I'm keeping track of. But if I go to the database real quick, and I search for Poland the same way that we searched for Portugal earlier, and I should say Portugal and not Portugal like I just did, Poland. So if I search Poland, then apparently, if I'm reading this right, I that's not what I meant to type. Huh. It turned out when we found out about SCP-3812, because when it rose from the grave, one of the first things it did that we knew about was demolishing a apartment building in Warsaw, Poland. I don't know why 3812 decided to do that, but it did. So, there's that. Furthermore, it seems like SCP-9001 takes place in Poland. Is it in one of the collapsibles or something? Is it on the second page or something? Why did it say it had Poland and then the documents don't have Poland? This is confusing to me. There are a whole lot of hits when you bring up Poland. It looks like maybe 1304 was born in Poland. No, the original author was Polish. The novel was originally published in Poland, and there is no real-world equivalent. Huh. Metafictional rebirth ritual. SCP-1304 is a metafictional rebirth ritual? Wait a minute. A method of ritual murder which allows for the translation of a fictional character into reality. The ritual, which has no direct basis in any known culture, has a lengthy list of requirements which must be performed in a particular order under specific circumstances. If the ritual is performed within a fictional narrative, which is then printed by a major publishing house no later than 1 week after the narrative's official release date, a child will be born whose life will mirror as closely as possible that of the character killed in the ritual. The child is an instance of -1. The -1 instances are seemingly unaware of the circumstances of the creation. Those who have found or been told about their associated narrative have regarded it as a curious coincidence. And there's little metafictional interruptions to the document. Can you hear me? I can see you, but I can't touch you. Please let me back in. I want to come back in. I'm not supposed to be here. All right, this is cray-cray. This is cray-cray. 1304. Metafictional rebirth ritual. Maybe take a look at this, gang. This is kind of insano here. And I just found this because they accidentally, because part of something was written in Poland in this article, or in the Polish language. Yes, someone who did the ritual, or someone who was born from the ritual, was born in Poland. Wild. It is wild the things you will discover on this frickin' website. Thank you, whoever asked about the Polish SCPs. That was interesting. Desk also found me that SCP-1357 is a theme park in Poland, if you want to go to there. Waiting for my browser to refresh because my computer is ancient. So, coming back to chat. By the way, Site42 staff, we are in the last 10 to 15 minutes of stream. 10 to 15 minutes remaining. What was the number again? Intern Minty Andrea. Well, 1304 is the metafictional rebirth ritual. Metafictional rebirth ritual. That's craziness. That's awesome. I gotta read that later. Chaos Insurgency Troop, thank you for donating again to say, bang, are you winning, Sherm? Oh, Dr. Sherman's always winning. Except when he isn't. Such as having to eat an entire Bible on the stream. That was not winning. But I did successfully eat the whole Bible, so that was winning. Until Vor Jesus swallowed me and I had to go to the Jesus Land theme park in its stomach. That was not winning. But then discovering a whole new group of interest that has taken up residence in the Jesus Land theme park, named the Sons of the Swallowed, yeah, that was a win. Until Desk got entire credit for that discovery instead of me, like a freaking jerk, which was not a win. I'm doing fine, is the answer. Intern Lewis, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a omelet on your way past the commissary. An omelette du fromage. Hey, Dr. Sherman, that I've been watching you. I've been on my dinner break at work. Well, I hope you're having a good dinner and enjoy the omelette du fromage alongside it. I swear I said 1357 was Polish first. You probably did, Charger, but unfortunately for you, I have Desk on Discord in the background of stream. That's what we call the back channels. That way, if there's moderation issues, or if he's finding something for me, I get it from him. So you might have said it first, but I got it from him. That's the situation here. Java name, thank you for gifting 5 Site42 promotions to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. We appreciate your generosity in building up the ranks of the green names so we can win the battle against the white names. If you got one of those promotions from Java Name and you are currently present in stream, make sure to thank Java Name for their generosity. Oh, I see a bunch of good questions real quick. Desk, tell Lucas the intern how to submit fan art for Fan Art Friday, please. Is there a Discord for Site42? Intern, Shrink Hater, nice. We gotta cook, Walter. Make sure, yes, there is a Site42 Discord, but it is a mystery. It's an Easter egg hunt. You gotta look for it. Furthermore, you must be over the age of 18 to join it, just like you must be over the 18 age to join the SCP Wiki or the SCP official Discord. So don't go looking for it unless you are over the age of 18, because that won't go well for you. Intern Fineth, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. What do you think about George's tails being removed? Apotheon. So I am saddened by that, of course. There's a lot of lore that was lost in that. The Adventures in Capitalism, the Dust and Blood, and the tales surrounding that. Those were very foundational lore things. Now, actually, this is funny. This is part of what we were arguing on Twitter about in the stream subject. Is there a lot of people who are blaming George's decision on staff's inability to handle the Bright situation, which, sorry, we're talking about Bright again now, because that's linked to the George thing, trigger warning. So, it's fair to say that, if only because that's what George blamed it on. In the note on the database, on his author page, George says, hey, this is what happened. But I also believe, and I'm coming at this from the outside, I don't blame George for having feelings. You can have feelings and you can act on your feelings. I, for one, don't like deleting SCPs in general, without very good reason. Like, I'm siding with staff on the Dr. Bright deletions, because the clout of having those stories on the wiki is how Bright is able to keep getting followers and victims. And so I see that as the, like, one of the only reasons why you would do this, such a thing. I think, at least for me, if you submit something to the Creative Commons to SCP, you leave it there. It's like giving a gift to the community, no takesy-backsies. And also, I mean, I can't get too much into drama and rumors here. Suffice it to say, George was temp banned recently for writing a hate fic about another wiki member. And it just shows me a bit of a rudeness and a sort of emotional outburst style that maybe in calmer minds this would have prevailed, but because the situation bubbled over, this is how it went. So there's a lot of factors, and I really just, at the end of the day, my feeling is A, I wish the stories weren't removed, and B, people need to learn to talk out their feelings rather than acting rashly. And that's true for wiki staff, that's true for the SCP community, that's true for everybody. Chill, please. Please chill. There was something else I want to talk about too. You guys hit me with a bunch of really good questions right in a row. Now I'm charging up to find them. I think that is actually, yeah, those were the questions I wanted to answer. So now I'm back to the bottom of the chat. It's refreshed. And Researcher Miller, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself an RC Cola on your way past the commissary. Can 999 feel pain or any physical stimulation? Well, it's hard to say, but I imagine that as we can see, SCP-999 act as intellectually like a small puppy. I mean, it is a couch-sized slime, but it acts like a puppy. And so, because it has those kind of emotions, I would feel that it can I would guess that it could feel some sort of pain. Now, let me double check in the tail, Asset Florida Orange, content warning for being really mean to SCP-999, because this is the tale in which the SCP Foundation decided that to improve morale, we would put SCP-999 in a giant blender and use its remnants to insert them in food and beverage to increase morale at the Foundation. Furthermore, we don't completely destroy 999. We then feed it a bunch of sugar so it regrows and then blend it again, because this is a really mean dimension for the Foundation. At least in this chat, one of the researchers is guaranteeing that SCP-999 does not feel pain from the process. If anything, have you noticed how its tank shakes during extraction? That's SCP-999 enjoying the tickles it feels when the machine is running. However, I do recommend you and your team keep their ear protection on while extracting its joy juice. The sound of heavy machinery can be extremely harmful to one's auditory health. Yeah. Not so sure about that one, guys. Dr. Dewison, thank you for donating again to say, is there a threshold as to what is anomalous enough to be contained? Like there was a guy that inhaled CO2 and exhaled O2 like a plant, would he be contained? If it breaks the laws of standard physics as we know them, it is anomalous. So yes, if you inhale CO2 and exhale O2, that is not a human tendency. You're anomalous, you go in a box. It doesn't matter how minor it is. It matters if it's anomalous. It goes in a box. Experiments gone wrong. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a pint of ice cream because you're saying, Doctor, breakup hurts. Well, I am sorry for your bad situation. I hope it gets better. Reminder that I am the site director, but I'm not HR or your on-site therapist, so I don't have a lot of help I can provide. But perhaps hang out with some friends and family, rest, take care of yourself, pain heals over time, that sort of thing. Ronnie Penuel, thank you for sending a bronze medal to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. Dr. Sherman, SCP-7966 is a Jesus. Really? Another one? 7966, you say? Come on. 7966. While I'm looking this up, we have 5 minutes left in stream, people. 5 minutes. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Davis. Is that Jim Davis? Is that Jim Davis, creator of Garfield? It is. That is Jim Davis, creator of Garfield. Why is the creator of Garfield here? Why is the Department of Tactical Theology looking into Jim Davis? What is happening? Let me take a good look. Being flashbanged by light mode. Ouch. 7966 is the birth of Jim Davis, creator of Garfield comic strip. According to all testing methods devised by TAC Theo, this event is both ontologically and theologically identical to the second coming of Jesus Christ. This conclusion has been made following several decades of observation. Besides emitting significantly higher than average Akiva particles than most individuals, 7966's theological resonance signature measures at a consistent 316, which is comparable to other artifacts with similar presence and is unusually high. Have been found that Eve energy patterns are an exact match for the known Eve patterns of the previous incarnation of Christ. Has never been documented knowingly utilizing its anomalous abilities or acting in a manner directly comparable to other resurrected deities. Leading researchers to believe its significance to have had its passive ability to amass followers, which contributed to the popularity of the Garfield franchise. After extensive research and discussion of research regarding the most reliable method of containment, it has been conceded that allowing 7966-1 to live out its natural lifespan outside of containment poses the smallest possible chance of triggering a biblical rapture. As to maintain its commitment toward the categorization and preservation of religious scripture, the TAC Theo department has since begun accumulating an extensive archive of all currently published Garfield media. Further efforts to acquire the religious institution Pause Inc. are currently ongoing. And that's all it is. That entire thing I just showed you was the entire article. Just Jim Davis is Jesus. Our sixth Jesus has hit the SCP database. Now, our list includes SCP-029-J, codename Uber Driver Jesus. SCP-3305, codename Bread Jesus. SCP-4477, codename Cockblock Jesus. SCP-5991, codename Vor Jesus. SCP-6542, codename Milk Jesus, i.e. Jesus. And now, SCP-7966, codename Jim Davis Jesus. Why did you do this to me, you damn SCP? Another Jesus in my place. Ah, man! And now, this is the moment at the end of stream when I discover, thank you, Agent Goose, that the lead singer of 3 Doors Down has died from cancer. And now you're learning that the lead singer of 3 Doors Down you're probably learning it from an SCP content creator. Congratulations on getting the news from Dr. Sherman that the lead singer of 3 Doors Down has died at age 47. Ah! Dr. David Moira, yes, Dracula is an SCP, although the entity was arrested by Foundation agent Columbo. Well, that changes the credit song for the day. Cool. All right, let me get these last donations because we are actually at the end of stream and I am behind. James the Rail Fan, thank you for your first donation, James. Today's stream, get yourself a McGillicuddy's Pepper Elixir on your way past the commissary. Hi, Dr. Sherman, how you doing? Watching this while making soup for culinary school. Ah, very good. Making soup for your family, a very important meal of the day. Intern GCMT, thank you for your first 2 donations to today's stream. Go ahead and grab yourself a quiche on your way past the commissary. Dr. 049 got the gender bending stone again. 049 is trying to seduce the researchers again. Well, it's allowed to have the gender bending stone. That's part of its release deal to work with the mobile task forces to help us contain anomalies. But it's not allowed to seduce researchers. So reprimand it and put it in timeout. Rebel Commander, thank you for, I think, donating again? To say, try Reese's Red Velvet while you can, it's so good. Okay, you've got my interest. I tried the Reese's Oreo, and that was nice. I have not seen the Red Velvet. If I see it, Red Velvet is my favorite kind of cake, so I will try that. Thank you for the heads up. Jesse Allen, thank you for sending 3 bronze medals to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. We appreciate your generosity for rewarding the chat. Now, Site 42 staff, we are currently at the end of stream, and as always at the end of stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. Now, I'm not going to tell you my favorites are the ones I personally wrote. That would be cheating. Narcissism, in fact. But I will tell you that if you want to see the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page in Site 42 Hub on the SCP database. There you can read the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or sound effects to. And while you're there, one tab over from those SCPs, there's a list of links. Links that a lot of people ask about in chat, but then they never seem to find them. They're just not determined enough to look at where I'm hinting very clearly. But that's not you guys. You guys would definitely find that link. You're very determined. And while you are there at those links, you can become a YouTube channel member or a Patreon if you want to donate to Site 42 monthly. You can do Ko-Fi or YouTube Super Chats if you want to donate to us one at a time. Either way, we appreciate direct donations. They are the quickest way to help myself and the rest of the team at Site 42 keep the lights on, so we thank you very much for your generosity. And if you are part of the broke gang and you can't donate, and don't worry, we're a arts community, we understand starving artists for real, you can still help us out by being a member of Mobile Task Force Sci 42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. When you like, share, subscribe, comment, chat on our streams and videos, as well as the productions of people outside of Site 42 who are making SCP things. Maybe they're making SCP articles and art for the SCP database, or they're making SCP films, or games, or merch, or animations. When you help out the SCP community, you are helping out Site 42 as a member of Mobile Task Force Site 42, codenamed the Signal Boosters, and we appreciate you greatly. And in fact, it just so happens I can run a quick test of that right now, because we just looked at Big Jaw Getty's SCP teaser trailer. And it turns out that if I search by newest comments, then Uriah Gonzalez is our most honored member of Mobile Task Force Sci 42 for today, because you were the first person to comment after I said so. Perhaps people below this from our team, like Undead Nuclear Gamer, and that's the only name I recognize besides Lot 1 Productions. But congratulations on going and commenting. So, we thank you for your service in supporting SCP projects for us as well as others. Now, My favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999303008-J, Spooky-J, 50315555308980. Content warning on the last one, is a rough read. Site 42 staff, do me one more favor, especially I think you, Dr. Frogman, who alerted me to the new Jesus. Over the next couple streams, just make sure I remember the new Jesus, and especially its number, because it's going to take me a couple streams to add it to the list. But, Site 42 staff, at the end of the day, this has been another Coffee Break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the Anomalous broadcast from Site 42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. Well, I took a walk around the world to ease my troubled mind. I left my body lying somewhere in the sands of time. But I watched the world float to the dark side of the moon. And I feel there's nothing I can do. I watched the world float to the dark side of the moon. After all, I knew it had to be something to do with you. I really don't mind what happens now and then, as long as you'll be my friend at the end. If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive and well, will you be there holding my hand? I keep you by my side with my superhuman might, kryptonite. The credit song is Kryptonite from Three Doors Down. R.I.P. Brad Arnold. R.I.P. Be safe, be well, Site 42 fam, and as always, secure, contain, protect.